Hi. Thanks for having me. I did not go to USC, so I am infiltrating here. So I really enjoyed, Stephen kind of giving a little bit of his background and life story, and Lauren also kind of encouraged me to do that. So I am the middle child of a Jewish mother and an ex-Mormon father who have a construction company together in Salt Lake City, Utah. My older sister is a doctor, and my younger brother is an organic farmer. So where did I go wrong? How did I get here? So I think, I grew up in Salt Lake, very kind of boring, beautiful. You spend some time there, very beautiful, very boring. And my parents were very, they're both kind of hippies, despite the construction thing. And, they really didn't let us consume a lot of media when I was younger. So, my friends always tease me because they'll talk about nostalgic things from the 80s or the 90s, and I'm like, no idea what you're talking about. So I think part of how I came into doing what I was doing was that because it was kind of denied to me, I gravitated towards it. Being the rebellious middle child. If any of you are middle children, you can sympathize with me and you know what I'm talking about. And so, growing up, I was never that child that was like, I'm going to be this. I want to do this. I did a lot of community service in high school, and I knew that I loved helping people, and I loved connecting people. I was always the connector in high school. You need this or that. Oh, I know this you want to go to the movies, you don't have a car. I know the person going to the movies with a car. I was always the one kind of connecting people, and always kind of starting. I started the Amnesty International. I was the president of the Latin Club. It does not get dorkier than that. But I was I like this connecting thing. I like helping people. It's sort of nebulous. I don't really have a strong passion. Following along in that, I was a literature and anthropology major, so not sort of general education. I went to Pitzer, which is one of the Claremont colleges about 30 miles east of here, if you're familiar with it. And I got a scholarship to go there because I had done so much community service in high school that they give out to scholarships to Pitzer based on community service, which was fantastic. And I really I continued doing that part of the scholarship that I needed to do. I had to continue doing community service in order to keep my scholarship. So, I really, again, the whole idea of kind of helping people and encouraging people. My friends were always coming to me for advice on things, whether it was what classes they should take, or they were confused about what career choice they wanted to make. And so I just became I kind of followed this. I thought maybe I'll be a teacher and maybe I'll be a psychologist. I didn't really know. So I came into all of this is not really leading to where I am today logically, because my life has not followed a very logical path. So when I was a junior in college, I was sort of bored with what I was doing. I thought college was a little too easy. Not that I'm bragging, it just was it wasn't really stimulating to me. So I was like, I need to do something crazy. What's the craziest? I'm from Utah, I go to Southern California. I haven't really done anything crazy. So my school had a study abroad program in Nepal, and I was like, yep, that's what I'm doing, because that's so outside of my comfort zone, and so outside of anything that I've ever done. So when I signed up, we were going to Nepal. Turns out, back then, Nepal was a very dangerous place. So our program got moved to India. And I was like, okay, not what I thought I was going to, but rolling with the punches here, let's do this. So I spent 6 months in India, learning Nepalese, living with a family, milking the cow in the shed with them. It was very rustic. I was sleeping on a wooden table. Showered in a bucket for 6 months. A shower never felt so good after that. Really, really went super far outside of my comfort zone. The last month of that program, we were given a stipend and told to go do a month-long study on anything we wanted. I was like, amazing. I want to keep I'm like here, I'm into this, like I'm really outside my comfort zone. I like this. Like, let's go even further and let's go to a place that doesn't even have a hotel, which I didn't know at the time, but I found out as the last Jeep left for the day. Luckily, I've spoken up police. So anyways, I was studying sacred land rights issues in a little area called Sikkim. And I started at this lake, and again, did not have a hotel. So anyways, I talked my way into staying at the monastery there. And I promise this leads to where I am today. The next day, in comes 3 American young men who are filming a documentary, and they're like bumbling around and making all these like taboos, like eating with their left hand and stuff. It was really embarrassing. So I was like, listen, I'm studying sacred land. You guys are doing a documentary about sacred land. I speak Nepalese. I'm curious what this documentary film thing is. Why don't I just travel with you, and I'll be your translator. So they're cool. That's amazing. So we went and had this grand adventure, which would take like 3 hours to tell you about. But anyways, I was like, they taught me how to use the camera, and I was like, this is it. I love this. This is amazing. Came back, had to finish my last year of school. And was like, I'm going to find my way into the entertainment industry. Don't have connections anywhere, didn't get a film degree. Again, parents' construction company in Utah, like just didn't have any connections, but I didn't really care. So I started working at Whole Foods and their marketing department, but I also had to bag groceries because it wasn't a real job. I just convinced them. I was like, look, I'm gonna like go and make partnerships with all these places, and I'll like be your marketing person. They're like, cool, but we don't have that job, so like we have to put you as like a bagger, so you have to do that 1 day a week. I was like, awesome, fine, whatever. So one of the partnerships that we made was with the LA Film Festival, and I got a VIP like all access badge. And I was like, okay, this is it. This is my chance. I am going to find an internship at the LA Film Festival. Every time I'm not bagging groceries, I'm there. And I want to be in documentary film. I love it. I had since taught myself how to edit. Thought I wanted to be an editor, and then realized it's really painstaking, and I'm a lot better at bossing people around and telling them what to edit than actually doing it myself. But to Stephen's point, I learned how to do it, which was great, because when I was talking to editors, I could speak their language. And this is a true story. I flipped through the LA Film Festival catalog, saw a film that I was like, this looks cool. I haven't seen it, but it looks awesome. I'm going to email the filmmaker, hunt down her email her and be like, do you have any internships? It turns out she was working on a show for Discovery Channel at World of Wonder, which is a big reality production company. She's like, yep, I do actually. Can you show up tomorrow? And so I switched my work schedule around and wound up interning at World of Wonder, working 5 days a week at Whole Foods, 2 unpaid days at World of Wonder, so 7 days a week. I was exhausted, but it was amazing, and I would take any job. Like, similar thing. Will you show up at 5:30 and like help the sound guy? Don't know anything about sound. Yes, I will do that. I remember being on set once, and I was like, doing the chords for the lights, and they're like, that is so wrong. Like, have you never worked on this? So one guy was like, let me show you how to do it. So, I was like, yes, I'll do anything. I took every job, started working there more and more. Eventually they hired me. And I started working on all of the reality shows, and just kind of the first job that I had was being a logger. Does anyone know what a logger is? In reality TV, you film like 6 cameras and they just roll all day. And in order for them to do what's called a story edit, someone has to type everything that happens from all 6 camera angles. And it's really tedious, and I mean, you have to type everything. I can type really well now, though, which is awesome. But I was doing this for the first season of Tori and Dean in Love, the amazing piece of art that is the Tori Spelling Show. I probably watched more footage of Tori Spelling than anyone in the entire world. Something I'm not that proud about, but so it is. So anyways, I did not complain. I kept doing it. Eventually got promoted to associate producer, which is glorified assistant, but it was still awesome. I was like 22. I was like, yeah, I'm an associate producer on $1 Million Listing. which was such a fun show to work on. I still love that show. But I kind of looked at my executive producers around me and was like, I had to ask myself, like, this is great. They told me I could start pitching my own shows. I loved working at that company. It was so much fun. But do I want to be chasing down celebrities for the rest of my life? You know, my heart is really in this kind of like socially conscious message and independent artists, and I love the independent film movement. Like, do I really want to spend my time like chasing rich people down for, you know, signatures and stuff? And my answer was no, ultimately. So on the side, I was making short documentaries, finished the documentary from India. And YouTube was this kind of thing that people didn't really understand. You know, it was starting to become really big. That was the year that Time magazine made you the person of the year with the mirror. I don't know if you guys remember that. And it was like, okay, this is a thing. So I was uploading my documentaries to YouTube. They were getting like 10 hits, whatever. And then I also discovered this platform called Current. And Current was a web portal that was started by Al Gore. And it was this really great, very small, but really great community of filmmakers that were uploading short documentaries. Your documentary had to get approved by some mystical person or people, you know, up in San Francisco, who later became my good friends. But and you wouldn't see your film, you know, immediately on the site. It would get approved, and then if they liked it, a creative executive from Current would call you and say, "Hey, I want to buy, you know, in perpetuity worldwide across all media platforms, like a really scary thing, of your documentary for $700." And I was like, yes. Amazing. This is the greatest thing ever. Like, I am making money as a documentary filmmaker, which people, haha, mom and dad, you thought we couldn't do this. And so then they started commissioning me. So I was like, great. Then they started paying me to make these specific kinds of documentaries. Eventually, they hired me full time to move up to San Francisco and help them start what was called the VC Squared Outreach Department. They like to make up words. So it stands for Viewer Created Content. And back then, this is 2007, you know, UGC and viewer created content, that was like those were very like hot terms. Everything was like UGC, this, and we're gonna like crowdsource, well, crowdsourcing was just becoming a term. We're like crowdsource our commercial, isn't that awesome? And so I was 23, and so like this was my dream job. I felt like I had won the lottery. I was going to be there for 10 years. I had a 401k. I was like dental and health. Like, I am set up. I'm living in San Francisco. Like, you know, everyone there is like 23, 24. We're all partying. It's so much fun. And by the way, we're changing the world, right? We are democratizing media. And that was really like, that was such an amazing hotbed of creativity, and the people, Current was really good at hiring amazing people, and I met some of the most incredible you know, people who have gone on to start great companies and do great work. And you know, I think one of the things I did that was great at Current was, you know, well, I think one of the mistakes I made at Current was thinking that I could do everything better than my managers. And one of the things I did right was thinking that I could do everything better than my manager. So I think, I mean, that was sort of the mentality there. Like, oh, like the man, you know, who's running this, like, you know, they don't get it. They don't get like how we're changing media, even though they say they do. And we were like very frustrated. And so, you know, and we were all like these angsty 23-year-olds that wanted to change the world. So you know, I learned a lot while I was working there. Mostly I learned what, if I ever started my own company, what I didn't want to do, which can be as valuable as learning, you know, how to run a company. So not that Current was badly run, but I think that when the majority of your workforce is this young, idealistic, like extremely creative, you know, wanting to change the world, and you don't really, you bring them in with that understanding, but you don't really open those doors to let them do that in a real meaningful way, then it causes a lot of frustration. So in the election came around 2008, like, everything is amazing. I was in San Francisco, like, Obama wins, like, everything is so awesome. Like, life does not get better. We're like popping champagne bottles, and Current had done the first Twitter integration. So we were running like live Twitter feeds on Current, which was very, like, during the election, which was very unheard of. Now it's irritating, everyone does it. But back then we had done the first like TV Twitter partnership. And so, and I was working, we worked all night, we were there, we were like, I was like searching for tweets, which was really hard to do back then because Twitter was so new. And, I was like, this is it. Like, I left, Obama's president changed, like, we're changing everything, this is great. 10 days later, Current lays off 80 people in one day. There were news cameras outside, like the whole thing, because the economy was collapsing, and it was Al Gore's company. And so it was this big news story. So, we're like, it was so classic. Like, they literally gave us like those bankers boxes. I was like, really? We have to like walk out with okay. I was the first person they laid off, so that was cool. I didn't have the news cameras outside, thank God. I was like, I'm out of here. I know what's about to go down. Like, so that was really, like, that to me was the worst thing that could have possibly happened. Like, I remember going home, it was like 9:30. I had been there since 7:30 working because such was the culture. And I was like, okay, literally the worst thing that I can ever imagine happening to me has happened. I was out of control of my own situation, and I don't want that to happen again. And that's when I was like, you know what, I don't know how or when or why or what, but I'm going to start my own company. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know, when it's going to happen, but I never want to be in the position that I'm in again. And also, 80 really incredibly talented, more talented than me, people just got laid off into a very small workforce. So I'm leaving San Francisco. So 3 weeks later, U-Haul truck, that's a whole other story. That was fun. That with one mirror, down to LA I go. And I was, on unemployment. I was really frustrated. Like, I felt like I had failed. Even though everyone was like, it's the economy and like everyone's on unemployment, like fun employment, right? For me, I was like, no, this is the worst thing. Don't tell me that. Like, I am not having fun. Like, I am not at the cafes, like just chilling, sleeping in. Like, I was pissed. And I was like, so 20 days after I moved to LA, I get a job. And I was just like, I'm literally going to take the first thing. Because I don't like getting these employment checks is like, was so shameful for me. Like, looking back, I was really being dramatic, but it was that like motivation of like, I will not stop until something else is happening. And so I got this job at a very strange, very small web production company that was run by this eccentric multi-millionaire woman who was, I will not go into detail. Lauren got a little taste of it, but she was crazy. People are like, oh, my boss is crazy. No, she was like legit, like croissants in the hair. Like, it was a whole thing. And so I was like, I almost got fired for buying cupcakes one day. It was a whole thing. So I was like, I had a lot of time on my hands because my title was Director of Distribution, and she had already decided how she wanted to distribute this, so I had nothing to do. Like, literally, I was like, this is the worst. So I just started setting up meetings. I was like, look, I have this like fancy job title at this like web series production company, which people don't really understand what that means. So I'm just gonna use it to open all the doors that I can. So I went to every networking event that I could. I didn't care what it was. I was there. I agreed to speak on panels. I just established myself as a thought leader because I was like, I'm not doing anything like actually with my work, but I will present that I am doing things and that I know what I'm talking about. And I spent my days really like reading a ton of articles about what was going on in the web space and watching YouTube videos. So I was like, look, I'm reading all these articles, like everyone, billions of hours of videos being uploaded and watched, and I'm like, that clearly wasn't happening at Current, so where are people watching all of this? It was YouTube. I uncovered this whole YouTube world, and I'm like, my mind was just blown. These people were making video responses to each other, they were commenting, they were getting hundreds of thousands of views, sometimes millions of views. There was like this chocolate rain guy, like what is going on? And I want to like get to know these people. So in my office walks this guy named Tony Valenzuela, and he's like, pitching us a web series, whatever. I become friends with him. He's like, look, I don't know if you know about these like weirdo like YouTube people who are making all this content, but they're all moving to LA, and I'm directing this short zombie film thing with them. Like, why don't you come hang out with us, get to know some of them? So I go, and it's all the biggest YouTube stars that I'd been watching. It was Phil DeFranco and Kasim G. I don't know if do you guys watch YouTube? I don't know. And anyways, those names might not mean anything to you, but they were like the biggest YouTube stars at the time. And I was like, cool, this is awesome. Tony's like, hey, I actually need an extra zombie. So I get like put in zombie makeup, and all of they had done like this Twitter contest where fans of these guys would win, like, you get to be a zombie in this. So all of these like big YouTube stars thought I was like a fangirl, like that won a Twitter contest. And I was walking around in zombie makeup. Anyways, I got to know one of them, Phil DeFranco, pretty well. And he got some money from YouTube and was like, I need a producer. I'm starting this new channel called Like Totally Awesome, which is really fun to have on your resume. And it was a video game and movie review channel. And he's like, do you know about video games? I'm like, yep. Nope, never. I mean, again, going back, never played a video game in my life, and I'm not kidding you. Like, I didn't. I maybe played Duck Hunt once, I think. And so I was like, yup, I'm totally like in. I know all pop culture. I'm good. So he hired me, and I started producing this channel with him, and it became very successful. And but he was getting kind of bored with it. He wanted to do something else. I was getting a little like angsty working for him I was doing everything. It was a really great experience, and I met every YouTuber, including my now husband. So for that, I am very grateful for the time with him. But it was also very challenging. I mean, I was, coming in the morning with his venti Earl Grey latte with 5 Splendas and leaving, at like 9 o'clock at night. We were working in his apartment, some of you might have experience or will have this experience. Like, it's very challenging. I think his girlfriend was like really irritated with me too, because my office was upstairs in their loft next to the laundry, and she would be like, so I have to go like shopping and tanning. Could you just like change the laundry? It's right next to you. So it was like one of those situations. So I was like, you know what? I think like I've learned what I need. He's kind of moving in a different direction. Let's, time to part ways. Also at the time, I was starting to get a lot of my now YouTube friends being like, look, I'm starting to get all these brands approaching me. I don't know what to do. Can you help me? And I was starting to get brands approaching me, say, look, we want to work with these YouTubers, but we can't get a hold of them. You're the only one we know who knows all like these YouTube people. Help. And I was like, okay, there's clearly like a gap here. YouTubers want brand deals, brands want YouTubers, no one's connecting the dots. YouTubers don't know how to be professional. They're really like the old school YouTubers really were just people who were making video responses to each other and didn't think that this would turn into a business, let alone this huge industry that it is today. And so Phil and I parted ways, and I did a 6-figure deal with Sony Electronics my first week. And I told myself I'm going to give myself 6 months, and I have enough money, I saved, whatever, I can live for 6 months. So I did a 6-figure brand deal my first week, and was like, fantastic. With that money, I set up my company, which was originally called The Cloud Media. And I hired an assistant, and we were working out of my apartment, started doing more brand deals. And I was like literally cold calling YouTube talent, being like, so you don't know who I am, but I love your channel, and I think that I can help you. You don't need to sign a contract or anything. Like, let me just see if I can help you and bring you brand deals. And that's how I started getting clients and kind of getting a reputation for myself. And then I started getting more successful. I got a little office in Venice, which was like the best feeling in the whole world. I can't even tell you. Like, I look so fondly back on those days, like being able to have a real office and like have meetings, because when you're working in your apartment, you can't really take meetings there. It's a little awkward. And then eventually decided, I was living in Hollywood and commuting to Venice, and I was like, this is so stupid. I own my own business. Why am I commuting this far? So found a place on Sunset in the old National Lampoon building, which was awesome. I was like, great, Sunset address, like we sound super swanky. Still probably won't be taking a lot of meetings there because it's like kind of a rundown building, but I was like, this is great. I have my own office with a door. We have our name on the door. It's so cool. Business cards with rounded corners, everything. It's so exciting when you're first starting. And the industry was starting to pick up steam. Maker had launched by now, Fullscreen had launched by now. These are two companies, the really big companies that are adjacent to mine. And YouTube called me one day basically, and they said, look, we're starting this thing called MCNs, multi-channel networks, and you need to become one. And I was like, well, I don't really want to, because I'm not really comfortable with the relationship between like how YouTube and the MCNs and all that. They're like, well, you have to. And so I was like, okay, we're doing that now, I guess. And the whole MCN thing is basically an ad network. So when we sign a channel into our MCN, they are terminating their partnership with Google and they are signing up with us. And Google has said, you, Big Frame, have free reign to vet all of these channels. You take the liability for their content. You can run ads against them. You can see their analytics, and you pay them. You handle all the payment. Pretty good deal for Google because they have now outsourced a lot of their ad sales, and a good deal for us because now we can control the monetization a little bit more. But I didn't really have that experience. I was like, I really was positioning myself as a talent manager. So decided to bring on a co-founder at that time. Through a lot of the connections that I had made, again, one of my pieces of advice would be like network as much as you can, network with this group of people, go to networking events, and build up a big, community of people that you never know. I always take meetings because I met Lauren on Twitter. You never know what can come of just reaching out and saying, hi, what's up? I'd love to hear more about what you're doing. So through a series of, business contacts, I met my co-founder, and we co-founded Big Frame in 2011. And how are we doing on time? 5 minutes? Okay. Oh my gosh, I want to show videos. Okay, I will tell the rest of the Big Frame story really quickly, and then you guys can ask me questions about it. So we founded in 2011. We raised $3.5 million. We got brought on a board of 4 people, or 5 people, myself and my co-founder included. And I basically, for the last 2.5 years, have been getting a crash course and basically getting an MBA in real time about preferred stock and common stock, and we've had a lot of really crazy experiences. A lot of companies have tried to acquire us. A lot of people have tried to poach me personally. So in this business, there's always these kind of moments. The great thing that I learned is, when I was working at Current, I was like, I want to be my own boss. I want to boss other people. I think I'm really good at it. And I want to do all the things at Current that they wouldn't let me do. Like, for example, my employees, they can work from home if they want. Or if they need to take time off to go to a doctor's appointment, fine. The culture is such that we don't make people feel bad that they have to, go to the doctors or go whatever. Or if they want to work from home, fine. As long as you don't take advantage of that policy, I like that I can kind of make those rules. One of the difficult things is that when you have these massive decisions, there's no one who can tell you what to do. You have to make those decisions. There's no one above you that is like, that's responsibility is on their shoulders. It's all on you and your co-founder. And as you start getting employees, we had 5 employees and then 8, and now we have 20 employees. And those people have families and, wives and husbands and girlfriends and mortgages, and they suddenly, all of this responsibility falls on your shoulders. And you have to, sometimes you always, if you are a good leader, you always are putting them before yourself. And then again, a second layer on top of that is I'm in the talent business, so I'm always putting my talent in front of myself. And so one of the big lessons that I've had to learn is really, and it's sort of cliche, but like that balance of, putting everything, putting everyone before myself. But in these big decisions, should we get acquired by this company? Should we, should we do this strategic partnership? You do really have to put your employees and your talent, if you're in the kind of business that I am in, before yourself. And I can let you guys ask more questions about that. But I don't think we have time to show all of the videos that I wanted to show, but I want to show at least one. Okay, they're short. I'll show two. So I want to show. So the first one is selfishly from my husband, because I think he's so talented.
Here we go. This is the one. You guys ready? Take number 238. 3, 2, 1, go. So cool. That's the coolest part looking thing.
Make sure you stay with yourself, Andrew. Nice.
You were on both screens.
Alright.
Anyways, that's an example. My husband, his channel is Mystery Guitar Man, if you want to go watch other super creative videos like that. But that was really take 236 or whatever he said at the beginning. They took them 2 days, and it's really, a lot of people think, oh, YouTube videos, it's a lot of like vloggers, and it is. But there's also really amazing content out there, like Mystery Guitar Man, who, that took them a long. I mean, it's seemingly simple, but when you really think about it, they had to learn all the coordinations, and he had to time out the different phones and put the right stuff on the right phones. There's some great bloopers at the end if you want to watch those. And then the next video I'll show you is an example of a brand integration deal. So there's a lot of ways that, a lot of different revenue streams we have, but the two main ones are the AdSense, so those annoying like pre-rolls and banner ads that play. That doesn't really account for a lot of our revenue because it's really tied to Google. Google takes a big percentage of it. It's just more difficult. The big way is working with brands who actually want content integrated into a video. And so this is a channel called What's Up Elle. She's a mom, and this is an integration for Degree deodorant. Okay, honey. Hi there, brother. It's okay. My arm's
We're home!
Great, we gotta go to the Grammys party in 5 minutes.
I know, I don't have to shower. Hey guys, so I was so excited to do this video for Degree Motion Sense because I swear, as a mom, I sweat more than I did when I actually had time to go to a gym and work out. We did like 3 takes of this for this shoot. I did not smell, at least according to Presley. Anyway, you can pick this up at Walgreens and win a chance to go to the 2015 Grammys. Woohoo! Can we just say how crazy it is that I am now carrying 2 kids? Here's my little Chester! And we are renovating that house you see in the video. So it's a little nuts, but I'll be very, very glad when we're settled. You guys, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you very soon. Bye. Bye.
You know, the degree was integrated into the video, and she talks about it and gives a call to action. So that's sort of a little sample of what I get to work with every day. It's really awesome.